Good morning, everybody. I think it was a great session on the future of banking, future of financial services, I guess. We had mutual funds, we had banks, we had, I think insurance, I think the whole BFSI sector. What I'm going to cover is really how, as a trusted partner, we could increase the digital maturity of the BFSI sector and the NBFC sector. I particularly say NBFC because the non-banking financial companies are the next level of banking, and we talked about some of the things that are not so sure for lending, for etc., which these sectors play a very, very large role in, and they're the ones that are moving, and a lot of this ecosystem is moving from physical to digital, and we talked about that in the previous session. So I'm going to try and touch upon some of those aspects and bring in an element of how we can solve problems and what are some of the problems that we're seeing in the globally as well as in the Indian market, and how we can solve those here and take them to the world. So a quick one on who we are and what we do. Iron Mountain, we are a $5 billion company headquartered out of Boston, been a US company for about 70 years now, came into India only about a decade and a half ago. We have 50% of our revenues are still in North America, and our core business actually started off and still is actually holding physical storage of paper, and financial services is a very large part of what we do. So we hold paper, we hold tapes, we hold art, which you don't do in India as yet, in a physical form in warehouses. And then, of course, there is this whole journey from there into our various businesses that help customers move from that physical to digital, from simple scanning to workflow management to AI/ML-based analytics and some of the stuff that was talked about. We also hold, along with physical, there is also physical data centers. So instead of keeping servers in your office, which is on-prem, you co-locate them in our data centers. So we've invested in that business in India. Recently, we invested $150 million in a company called Webworks, which is a tier 3 data center. We have majority stake now, and we have just opened up new data center facilities in Bangalore and Hyderabad, as well as a second center in Mumbai, besides Pune and Noida and Bombay that was already present. So we are doing that. So we are 95% of Fortune 1000 are customers for Iron Mountain across the world. We are in over 60 countries, and we, along with the physical facilities, are bringing in all the digital capabilities which allow us to be the future of financial services. So in India, like I said, decade and a half ago, we've got about 70 warehouses. There were originally 80. We consolidated across 22 cities, and that was the core business. We did about 6 acquisitions during the course. And we are now in the process of bringing in a lot of our global capabilities into India, and that's the purpose of being here, to try and understand what problems can be solved for customers in India. So, besides bringing in all the global standards that we do, the storages that we do, we are helping customers move from physical to digital, as I mentioned. So tape to cloud, paper to cloud, etc., and then also from on-prem to co-location. So in the BFSI sector, if I was to say, from besides the physical storage that I talked about, there is different kinds of storage that we do. We also do vital storage, which essentially means original home documents need to go in a separate vault, which essentially gives you high level of protection in fire, etc. And then as you're moving in the physical space, you're wanting to track the documents, you want to be able to have agreement pull out, post-disposable document checking, QCs, all of those into the physical file tracking. And then if I take you into some of the digital size, and you're talking about moving from simply taking physical and digitizing it, whether it's account opening forms, KYC, loan number, or whatever, or taking your data from that into a repository, which I'll talk about in a minute. So data restoration and migration capabilities from tapes. So you currently have tapes lying there. They need to go to cloud. We help do that. We give you a repository where you can easily access that data. And then there have been requirements that have recently come in about asset barcoding, because we do barcoding in other physical forms, 𝐶-KYC processing, security post-dated check tracking and processing, and a lot of such processes that have come in, and we keep adding those, which kind of link the whole, physical and digital world. So there are about over 50 banks and financial institutions in India today that we actually serve already, and a lot of them are in the room. Whether the public sector, private sector, as well as global banks that are global customers that we come into India. And of course we do insurance, and we do, and that number is over and above this. And I think our experience, global experience, along with what we've gathered in India, has been, the main reason for our success. So while we understand some of the common challenges of industry to create as you get into new business, if we were to look at some of the challenges, and I look towards you to reconfirm some of that. Just give me a minute. Thanks. Yeah, so as you keep pace with the evolving customer needs, and I think you want to make sure you don't lose control, especially with respect to security and traceability, and I think we help with that. As you migrate data, there is a security risk. So you'll notice everything that we do is around data security as well as around environment. So, as you keep data, whether you keep it in your physical form or you keep it in your digital form, I think all of you might be aware that there is the data protection bill being tabled in Parliament today, and that's going to change a lot of needs and solve a lot of things, as well as create a lot of regulatory requirements that need to be done, and that's where we come in. So when we hold paper, it has PII information in it. When you digitize it, it has PII information in it. If there is an Aadhaar number, it needs to get masked. You need to do that in an automated way. You can't be doing it manually, et cetera, et cetera. So I think as these things keep changing, we evolve solutions that are automated in nature and use technology to help you do that quickly and faster. And we elevate the power of your work, and I think that's our biggest value. So I'm going to, if I was to just summarize that, it's basically about protecting everything that our customer gives us, whether it's in physical form or in digital form, and we are trusted by 95% of the Fortune 1000 to do that. We help you unlock value out of that. So whether it is shining light into dark data, or it's about applying time saving, automation, workflow, governance practices, etc., and you're basically unlocking a lot of value. And then, of course, helping you transform the speed and the effectiveness that you can react to your customers and get yourself a competitive advantage and transform the way you do business today to another way of doing business. So I think broadly, if I was to look at some of the digital solutions, and I talked about scanning and information governance and so on, we also take you into your assets. So what you have to realize is that when you have physical assets, those physical assets actually have data in it. So a lot of times you have an old laptop and even a printer, and that gets disposed of, and there is a hard drive in it, and there is data lying in it, and there has been enough breaches. While we talked about cyber breaches, there have been enough breaches in the physical world that have actually led to a lot of that, and that's why a lot of our customers came back to us on asset lifecycle management, where we take on old assets and recycle them, or give you disposition with zero landfill on that. And then workspace solutions, and data centers, which I talked about a bit. So if I was to just look at workplace solutions, so these are the ones that, as I don't know how many of you have ever, we talked in the previous session about we haven't been to a bank lately. I don't think we've been to an income tax office lately either. But the CITs all over the country used to be filled with paper, on all their offices and all their places. You go to a CIT today, you'll be pleasantly surprised they're all very clean, because all that paper is actually lying in our warehouse. Okay, so they've kind of put that into boxes, and they're lying in our warehouse. And I think that's what helps remodeling real estate. It helps when you're doing real estate consolidation, for us to help you set processes and systems that help you go to the digital world and help you still take care and stay connected with the physical that you had there. If I was to look at our data center piece, I think data centers is also another infrastructure business for us. So like we provide warehouses and creeping paper, here we provide a more, I call it a fancy warehouse, which has better connectivity, better power, better air conditioning, but finally we give a cage and you come and put your server in it. So instead of keeping servers in your own office, which will not give you the same connectivity, the same security, the same speeds that you will have, and our internet-facing speeds will be way faster in a data center. People are choosing to say we will not keep it in our piece. Either we go to a hyperscaler or we keep our servers into the piece. And I think that's how we move into that business. I talked a little bit about asset lifecycle management. So end-of-life asset lifecycle management. I mean, it is becoming a critical need. Imagine you've got branches all over the country, you've got small offices all over the country, and some admin guy there is taking care of IT assets, which is so dangerous. I mean, not only for two reasons. One, there is data in them. They need to be wiped off properly or destroyed properly before it goes and cannot get recovered. And two, it might find itself, your asset, which is already tagged to your bank or financial institution, will reach a landfill. Some activist is going to pick it up, and you're going to be in the front page of Economic Times saying, hey, this is what this bank does. So you need to make sure there is zero landfill, and we need to all be environmentally protected, and because of which this becomes that much important. So I'll take 5 minutes on the digital side as we talk more about that. As you get into digital transformation, you leverage and manage critical assets, and you try to move from your physical to digital. So as you access information from any physical or digital source, I think it's in silos. You've got, Anuj Kapur has taken a loan from a bank, in my lifetime, maybe about 5 times. 3 times of those are lying in a paper in a warehouse somewhere. 1 time of that is already scanned, and 1 time is in native digital. Now, can you get my data, at least in a consolidated form, to be able to say that this particular customer of mine, has this? And while you're taking that loan disbursement, can you, click on a button and say, I want to see what this guy did in 1998, okay? And within a few hours, it gets scanned from a warehouse and it comes, into the same platform, such that your loan processing, whether acceptance or rejection, can happen much more quickly. So that whole workflow, which combines physical to digital, becomes that much more important. Being consistent management of information and minimizing your risks, so the whole policies, governance, all of those things. Unstructured data and unlocking value out of that, so important. So having insights and the extraction of data from the pieces. So a lot of times there are scanned documents, but you haven't extracted information out of it. You just have a metadata on it. So platforms like ours will actually extract the information and digitalize the document and have that searchable for all the contents of the document, rather than and as well as an analysis done for the contents of the document, and you achieve your digital transformation goal. So essentially, we are talking about human-generated content, application-generated content, record rooms, vaults, your tapes, your video, audio feeds, all bringing into one repository, and a content services platform on top, which helps you doing analytics, workflow, a common workflow across physical and digital, integration, collaboration, as well as governance. So so I've already talked about physical files, digital files, and media, then coming into one data lake, which gives you analytics. I'm going to just take a minute to share one more video for your quick reference.
With the explosion of data across industries, many organizations struggle to classify, access, and make use of the full value of their data. Iron Mountain Insight is a cloud-native content services platform that helps organizations unlock insights with the ability to easily import, automatically classify, and seamlessly access and analyze information. While most information is now digital, many companies still have the need to access data in physical records as well. To uncover the value hidden in that data, Iron Mountain Insight supports data ingestion from a wide variety of sources. From paper documents to video footage, both physical and digital data sources are easily imported into Iron Mountain Insight. Machine learning-based classification and extraction is then applied, which adds structure, context, and metadata to the information to make it more usable. This allows users to effortlessly search for contracts, invoices, images, and more. Then organize the results as a collection that can be recalled instantly when needed. The platform utilizes both text and visual classification to enable features such as face recognition, as well as recognizing documents that are duplicates. Users can intelligently search across documents like spreadsheets, improve privacy, security, and compliance with the ability to identify and obfuscate sensitive information, such as PII, and control access, as well as apply appropriate policies. Users can even access relevant information for a given geographical location, all in just seconds. If you don't know what you have, you might be missing new revenue opportunities and cost savings. Unlock the potential of your information with Iron Mountain Insight. To learn more, please contact us today.
Yeah, so I think so that gave you a kind of a perspective. I'm not going to go into each of these case studies, but I'm just saying what we today do for banks and NBFCs as well as insurance companies. For one particular bank, we have about 300 people, running a process for them. For another one, it's about 60. You look at some of the NBFCs ranging from 50, even 20 to 50 to 60 people. And each of these processes, if you go into it, start from a physical piece of paper that actually come into our warehouse. We have people sitting on it, digitizing it, putting it into the system, doing the QC of it, and actually running that whole process and holding on to the chain of custody being limited. Now, imagine that only 20% or 30% of your stuff is physical. So the rest which is coming digital is also coming into the same system, and being done from a remote source and not necessarily the physical source. So you've suddenly combined your physical and digital, which is a necessity today in India. There is no institution today that does everything digital. And I believe there's nobody who does everything physical either. So we need to be able to bring this together during the period that as we get more and more digital as we move along. So before I end, I'm going to just quickly summarize on some of the aspects of how we brought physical and digital together. So whether it's physical paper, whether it's physical tapes, whether it's physical pieces, and there is native digital already, which then comes into a content services platform that gives you data protection, that gives you multi-level tier storage, as well as allows you to leverage insights out of physical and digital together, which are way more powerful than only the digital data, which is normally a tip of the iceberg compared to what is available. And as Iron Mountain, a company that's global, a company that helps banks and financial services companies all over the world, we are here in India now wanting to bring solutions from our global experience, wanting to understand the problems that we are facing in India that are specific to India, that we can solve at India cost points, India price points, and then export them to the other developing as well as developed world as we move along. So thank you very much for your time, and look forward to working together with you to help you rethink how you do your business. Thank you.